Good evening and many thanks for joining us live on QTV. You are watching QTV News and I am Ajipintu Drame. In tonight's top stories. Food Safety and Quality Authority and the Medicines Control Agency in the Gambia are not equipped with testing laboratories to analyze food and medicines products for their safety, quality and efficacy for public consumption. The ST Foundation is to plant 1 million trees across the country in the next 5 years to combat the effects of climate change. A two-day training for staff and students of academic institutions to increase awareness of intellectual property was organized by the Director of Research and Consultancy and Partners. And in international news, today, Saturday, 6th August, Japan marks the 77th anniversary of the deadly American B-29 atomic bombing of their cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And in sports news, the Gambia missed out on a place in the semi-finals, losing to England 2-1 in the beach volleyball quarterfinals. But in athletics, Gina Bass and the men's 4x100 relay are through to their respective finals. Those were headlines, and now the news in detail. Now, the quality and safety of food and medicines are fundamental to a country's development and public health. And yet, regulatory bodies like the Food Safety and Quality Authority and the Medicines Control Agency, established for that purpose, are not equipped with testing laboratories to analyze food and medicines products for their safety, quality and efficacy. Mobdulam Choi reports.
Food and medicines are indispensable to our lives. We depend on food for survival and medicines to manage our health. But how do we examine the safety and efficacy of foods and medicines? Obviously, that is for the experts to answer, and the very reason why relevant institutions are established. In the Gambia, the institutions mandated to regulate the food and pharmaceutical industry are the Medicines Control Agency and the Food Safety and Quality Authority. Although these regulatory bodies have been performing their functions, they are faced with a major challenge, namely the lack of testing laboratories. Mahmoudoba and Makiu Kairajani are the Director General of FSQA and Executive Director of MCA respectively.
It's a national problem which the food safety is very much conscious of, and unless and until we have the appropriate food testing facilities, we cannot boast of a robust food control system in the Gambia. That is a reality and is certain.
There are efforts being made, but it needs to be priority, because I know the government and key officials are always having concerns about, how do we assure the quality of this product? But my answer is always the same. We cannot do that without having an equipped lab. So we need to work on that.
In the absence of food testing laboratories, the FSQA relies on labs abroad to test and determine the quality and safety of foods exported from or imported into the country for public consumption. An example is when fish samples from the Gambia were sent to Senegal for laboratory analysis for the presence of chemicals like sniper on fish products. In a similar situation, the Medicines Control Agency mainly reviewed documents to determine whether medicinal products in the Gambia are of good quality and meet regulatory requirements. Both regulatory institutions say they are taking steps to address this.
Currently, we are awaiting to sign an agreement with SGS, which is a global company on testing and certification. And once that is signed, we will be in a position to establish a food testing laboratory, which will be run by the SGS, and it will be an accredited and a recognized laboratory.
So the Medicines Control Agency, as far as is concerned, is making efforts to make it a reality. We're working with the West African Health Organization, which is called WAHO, and they have promised to give us also support to buy some of this equipment to make this lab functional. So we are hoping that come 2023, we will definitely make this a reality.
Having fully equipped and functional medicine and food testing laboratories is crucial to our national quest to promote and protect public health. With these facilities, there can be timely response to food safety and medicine quality emergencies to prevent damage to the health of the population. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The ST Foundation is to plant 1 million trees across the country in the next 5 years to combat the effects of climate change. The foundation has already planted 1,000 trees since its inception, according to the foundation's president. Loli M. Camara has more.
ST and Baba Senegambia.
Join the movement. 1 million trees initiative with the ST Foundation. Plant a tree to conserve our environment.
Climate change in the Gambia is having a huge impact on our natural environment and people. Research shows the impact are expected to be diverse and complex. So, climate change adaptation is going to be important to achieve the country's sustainable development goals. ST Foundation is taking the lead fighting climate, having established the foundation 3 years ago. Sana Singate, better known by his stage name ST The Gambian Dream or Brikama Boyo, is the president of the foundation. He stated that his foundation is planting trees to mitigate the negative effects of climate change on our environment.
Gambia mobile talti environment mobile business oti, so from this wuli dal ngam part play dal, because yiru jamal bije.
Climate change requires a collaborative effort. And one thing I believe is, Gambia belongs to all of us, and that climate change should be everyone's business. So I am using my platform to spearhead the initiative by creating more awareness. Preach about the importance of trees through music, because there are trees cut and they need to be replaced.
As to how the ST Foundation is carrying out this laudable initiative, this is his response.
Foundation o mo jamal bije, nga management also other people nga coordinators and all that stuff ko fana yela time dedicate la dal,
We know it's not going to be easy because it needs a lot of resources to carry out the activity. But with the commitment and dedication from the team and fans, we will be able to achieve it. Just like I said, when the coronavirus hit the country, the foundation gave food support to households, organized fundraising shows for schools. We used the money in the reconstruction of classrooms and toilets, and paid tuition fee for some students. So we will continue in the same trend with this one too. Also, the foundation is partnering with other organizations, and we buy from women entrepreneurs selling seedlings.
The ST Foundation president called on citizens to support his foundation in their quest to protect our environment. He announced that the foundation will give an environmental award to organizations and individuals for the role they play in environmental protection. The Brikama-born artist, ST The Gambian Dream or Brikama Boyo, is due to travel to the United Kingdom early this month to perform at the Gambia Week. ST says he is excited to go to the UK, fully prepared to deliver for his fans out there. He thanked Yaram Arts, who are promoting the concert, for the opportunity. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
In other news, a two-day forum for staff and students of academic institutions to increase awareness of intellectual property was organized on Wednesday by the Director of Research and Consultancy in collaboration with the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO, and the Registrar General of the Gambia. More in this report.
The theme of the seminar, which is fostering creativity and innovation for economic growth and development in Africa, will also create a forum to discuss issues on research and innovation. Intellectual property, or IP, is significant to protect by law one's innovation or creation of the mind, which enables people to earn recognition or financial benefit from what they invent or create. Ahmed Ibrahim, a representative for the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO, says there is a need to address IP challenges in Africa, adding that over the years the organization has given students from across Africa the opportunity for postgraduate studies on IP. to support IP teaching and promote IP systems in our countries.
Many challenges that impact negatively on creativity and innovation. Such challenges include lack of intellectual property expertise, lack of relevant intellectual property policies and legal frameworks that can incentivize researchers and inventors to be creative and innovative in generating intellectual property.
The system of intellectual property protection is seemingly less visible in the African continent, where infringement of one's innovative work is easily accessible or consumed by the public. In the digital age, it has become even easier to copy and share and infringe copyright, particularly with music and films. The Intellectual Property Bill 2021 has already been approved by the Cabinet and is ready to be tabled before the National Assembly. Dauda A. Jallow, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, says if the bill becomes an act, it will bring positive changes to the IP landscape in the country, adding that he is optimistic that through the partnership with ARIPO, within a few years, the University of the Gambia will be a hub for intellectual property.
The Ministry of Justice, through the Office of the Registrar General, is committed to ensuring that all stakeholders in the intellectual property ecosystem are empowered to maximize the full potentials of intellectual property for poverty eradication, job creation, wealth creation, general promotion of standard of living in the Gambia. I wish to seize this opportunity to urge the University of the Gambia to develop its institutional intellectual property policy, introduce intellectual property courses in all the faculties and departments of the university.
Professor Per Gomez, the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, thanked partners for the initiative.
At the policy level, both the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy 2015-2024 and National Research Policy have clear-cut strategies that support the utilization of IP, integration of IP in the curriculum of tertiary and higher education institutions, as well as building capacities for researchers and grassroots innovators.
Abdullah Jallow, the Registrar General, whose office oversees registration of copyright among other matters, explains that his office is committed to build IP experts to create awareness, prosecute alleged infringement cases before courts, and take other enforcement measures. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
And from that story, we will go for a commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories, to stay tuned.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
I'm feeling on top of the world, like nothing's ever gonna bring me down. This feeling got me flying high as a bird. I may never touch the ground. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate, 'cause it's a good day, good life.
Welcome back, and now news from beyond our borders. Today, Saturday, 6th August, Japan marked the 77th anniversary since the deadly American B-29 atomic bombing of their cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which killed tens of thousands of people in 1945. Aliu Sisi reports.
At 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, the US B-29 warplane Enola Gay dropped the world's first atomic bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, on Hiroshima, a manufacturing center of some 350,000 people located about 500 miles from Tokyo. 3 days later, on August 9th, another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. The exact death tolls from the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki remain unknown. However, it is estimated roughly 70,000 to 135,000 people died in Hiroshima and 60,000 to 80,000 people died in Nagasaki, both from acute exposure to the blast and from long-term side effects of radiation. After the disastrous bombing at noon on August 15, 1945, Japan's Emperor Hirohito announced his country's surrender in a radio broadcast, bringing the war to a close. The news spread quickly, and Victory in Japan, or VJ Day, celebration broke out across the United States and other allied nations. The formal surrender agreement was signed on September 2nd aboard the U.S. battleship Missouri, anchored in Tokyo Bay. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres joined the thousands to commemorate the day at the Peace Park in the center of the city, making the second UN leader to take part in the annual ceremony. The Peace Park is built around the remains of a building that was otherwise destroyed by the bombing in 1945. Nuclear weapons are nonsense, Mr. Guterres said, but sidestepped a direct mention of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia has many nuclear weapons, while Ukraine was persuaded to give up its nuclear arsenal a few years ago. Hiroshima Mayor Kazumi Matsui, whose city did not invite the Russian ambassador to the ceremony this year, was more pointed and critical of Moscow's military actions in Ukraine. In invading Ukraine, the Russian leader elected to protect the lives and property of his people and is using them as instrument of war, stealing the lives and livelihoods of civilians in a different country, Mr. Matsui said. In 1945, the dropping of the atomic bomb was meant to be so shocking that it would stop a race to make ever more deadly weapons. In truth, it seems to have done the opposite, with many nations now having weapons deadlier than the ones dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Sisi.
And now to sports. The Gambia missed out on a place in the semi-finals, losing to England 2-1 in the beach volleyball quarter-finals. In athletics, Gina Bass made it to the women's 200-meter finals, and the men's 4x100 relay are also through to the final. Our sports reporter, Mobudu Gajaga, is in Birmingham, and he now reports.
It's been a night of mixed feelings for the Gambia in the Commonwealth Games. First, it was the beach volleyball team that took on England, and they narrowly lost 2-1, 2 sets to 1. England won the first set, Gambia came in back in the second set, it was all square. And in the final and deciding set, it was very difficult, and the game, almost at a certain stage, it seems that Gambia could get something. But in the end, it wasn't enough for them to sail through. England were too powerful, and they reached the semi-finals. Gambia missed out on a medal there as far as the beach volleyball is concerned. In athletics, it was time for Gina Bass to take on to the tracks, and she sailed through, reaching the finals of the women's 200 meters, which is coming tonight.
Yeah, it was my objective to be in the final, so I have made it, and I'm really grateful for that. Although the weather was not too good, but I am really grateful.
Towards the end, it almost looked like you were in second place. What happened? Why did you start?
My band was not that much good because it was cold, so I have to manage it to be in the third place, at least to qualify to the final.
And in the men's 4x100 meters relay, the Gambian team of Sengan Job, Aliu Juve, Ibrahim Kamara, and Adama Jame, in that order, started exchange batons. They had a scintillating run and making history for the first time, reaching the finals of the Commonwealth Games. And they did it in style. And instead of qualifying as one of the fastest qualifiers in fourth place, they now replace Ghana in the third place because Ghana rather are disqualified.
We make a history that I'm so proud of myself and my teammate from the Gambia. So it's the first time Gambia being in the final of the Commonwealth Games since 1980s. So we're very proud, and we just have, to put smile on every Gambian's face that we'll be in the final tomorrow and see, what we can get. Probably we're working on having a medal on top of Painjai and Gina this evening.
I feel so much delighted, so much glad and happy, because every time that I made a team or come up with a team, I always make history. So I am very much happy being part of the history makers. I will say a big thanks to the athletes and a congratulations to all of them for the respectful performance they did.
Reporting from the Alexandra Stadium, I am Mamudu Gajaga for QTV News.
Congratulations. Now, the two football giants of the North Bank region, Esso United FC and the Rockland United FC of Farafenni, clash at the Esso football grounds for the 2022 championship. Don Williams saw the action unfold and he filed in this report.
The aspiring candidate for the GFF presidential post, Mr. Kamaso and his team Kamaso, were among the spectators who defied a heavy downpour to witness the football final between Rockland FC and Esso United FC. Abu Khan, the president of the North Bank Region Football Association, gave us his take on the final.
With regards to these finals, a great final for that matter. You can see the ambience, you can see the spectators. Despite the rain, these two teams are great teams, a giant team in the region, you all know. They are powerhouses in football. So they played very well during the league and then come victorious in their respective areas. That is why today they are here playing the finals.
It was a colorful scene with supporters of both sides drumming, singing and dancing. So the Waterfront boys were in red and black jerseys while the opponents were in sky blue. The kickoff saw the host team going on the offensive, and they kept that momentum for most of the first half with some beautifully taken set pieces, which saw the Rockland goalkeeper, Ansumana Diba, having to make some brilliant saves. The first half saw the Waterfront boys exhibiting free-flowing football, superb ball control and shooting, but the Rockland defense were as solid as a rock. As a result, the first half ended goalless. After the break, Rockland United FC came on strong, and this half saw both coaches making some substitutions, yet there were no goals on either side. The 90 minutes ended with no goals scored, meaning the winner would have to be decided by a penalty shootout. Rockland United FC emerged the winners, even though they missed one of their 5 penalties, as their opponents missed 2 of their sport kicks. The victors went away with the Giants' Golden Trophy, a cash prize of $70,000, while the runners-up took home $50,000. Ismail Madi Sonkar, the head coach of defeated Esso United FC, told us what went wrong for his team.
Playing 10 games, drawing only 1, losing 1, we won 8 of them. So statistically, it's really good. Looking at today's game, like I said, in the first half, we got a couple of chances, much especially in terms of set pieces, but we couldn't capitalize to try and execute some chances. So along the line, in the second half, also likewise the same thing. So eventually, we went to the penalty shootout, and where we lost.
Paraba Krubali, head coach of Rockland FC, with a smile shared his happiness at his side's victory.
Very happy. Definitely, it was a long journey to go. We are struggling with this trophy for almost 3 good years. Thank God, Almighty Allah make us today to make everything easy for us to have this victory. We are solid at the backside, we are solid in the defense, we are solid in the middle, just to make so our opponent don't score.
Ibrahim Asisi, head of competition for the North Bank Regional FA, shared his elation about the preparation from start of the league to this final.
Rockland winning Esso United here have given me another task. Now it is my responsibility as head of competition to work with Rockland United to see they have a successful campaign in the triangular, to see that Rockland have made it to the national second division.
Don Williams reporting for QTV News from Esso.
Before we end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. The food safety and Safety Authority and the Medicines Control Agency in the Gambia are not equipped with testing laboratories to analyze food and medicines products for their safety, quality and efficacy for public consumption. The ST Foundation is to plant 1 million trees across the country in the next 5 years to combat the effects of climate change. A two-day forum for staff and students of academic institutions to increase awareness of intellectual property was organized by the Director of Research and Consultancy and partners. And in international news today, Saturday 6th August, Japan marks the 77th anniversary of the deadly American B-29 atomic bombing of their cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And in sports news, the Gambia missed out on a place in the semi-finals, losing to England 2-1 in the beach volleyball quarter-finals. But in athletics, Gina Bass and the men's 4x100 relay are through to their respective finals. That's all for this edition of the news. Thanks for watching.